Selling options is the best way for people with jobs to generate additional income so that we can invest more aggressively, cover our expenses, and retire early. Right? I myself have been selling options for years, and at this point in time in my life, I can make thousands of dollars a month consistently with really minimal effort. We're not talking about credit spreads here, just selling puts and calls. As an option seller, these options are going to go in the money at some point. Today, I'm going to show you how to manage and roll these options and still make a lot of money doing it. If you clicked on this video, you already know how to sell options to a certain extent. But if you don't, click on this video linked in the upper right-hand corner where I run through my system that guarantees consistent income selling puts and calls. And then come back to this video. So let's just recap the system before we get started. So I'm just going to leave on the screen here the 4 rules that we have to follow when we're selling puts and calls. All of this sums up to you never closing a trade at a loss. And this allows you to truly collect that credit as consistent passive income. If you don't understand why we do this, take a look at that video in the upper right-hand corner. Today, we're just going to add to that system by understanding how to roll options. I'm going to tell you the rules first, and then we're going to discuss why these rules exist with my own trading examples. But before we get there, if you guys like content like this, make sure you guys like this video and subscribe. I'm on a mission to teach you how to use investing and trading to retire early so that you can spend more time on the things that are important to you. Okay, so here are the rules. Number 1, we only roll if we can get a credit from rolling. 2, we want to roll for at least 30 days out. And 3, generally speaking, we want to roll when there's around 1 to 2 weeks left before expiry to avoid the potential of assignment. We're going to talk in extreme details about why this system works. After this video, you should understand everything there is to know about rolling options. So we're going to use my real life trades to demonstrate these principles. Here's a list of all the Apple trades that I sold and rolled over a span of 5 months from October to March of this year. I continue to roll this option over and over and over again, collecting credit as I rolled. And you can see I never paid money to roll any of these options. Eventually, right, I let these expire out of the money. But again, I can keep rolling this for however long I want. During that time, I collected around $1,055 from just rolling that one Apple call option over slightly less than 5 months, which means that I'm making around $200 a month on this one option, is essentially 1.14% return every month. This is just my own thoughts here. You guys feel free to disagree. Some people will say that 1% is not a lot. If you can make 1% extra every month, that's 12% a year, which is better than a historical average return on the S&P 500 since inception. So let's take a look at the Apple chart during that time frame from October to March so that you can see that a lot of the times my option will actually in the money, right? And I was still able to collect credit. Eventually, Apple came back down past 185 and I was able to have it expire out of the money. The most important part here is during this whole time, I never bought it back at a loss and I never rolled it for a loss. If there's only one thing that you guys learn from this video, it's to really stress this point. Make sure that when you guys sell calls, you guys are willing to sell them and have those options be assigned, because then you're more likely to be able to withstand these options being the money, see those large negative numbers, and not panic close. But if that's not enough, then let's explain how rolling works and how we can still collect money from it, whether it's out of the money or in the money. The first thing to understand, I'm sure you guys all know this, is that options are time bound, right? And as time goes on, that time will gradually cause your options to become less and less valuable, right? This is what we would call theta decay, otherwise known as time decay. If you want to learn everything there is to know about theta, I did a whole video deep diving into this, linked in the upper right hand corner. So let's again use my real life trades on November 8th, and we're just going to take a look at the November 24th option chain compared to the December 1st and December 8th. Right? Because at this point in time, Apple was very close to being in the money, right? It's sitting at 183. My options were at 185. So November 24th, 2023, 185 option is worth $187. Now compare that to the December 1st option, 185 right here, 185 is right here. This one's worth around $252. Around a difference of $68 or so, let's just say 70, which means that the option that is further out, so December 1st is worth $70 more than the option that you have on November 24th, 2023, which is only worth $187. So if you were to roll it from November 24th to December 1st for an additional week, you would make $252 minus $187, a credit of $65. Now compare the November 1st, November 24th one to December 8th one, which is around 2 weeks, and you see an even larger difference, right? The one on December 8th, 185 call, is worth around 312. So 312 minus 187 will be around $125 or so. So you can see by extending or rolling out an option, you're actually going to be paid money because the options that are further out is going to be worth more money than the options that you currently hold, because time decay is decaying out the value of that option because there's less time on it. So my actual trade would be this December 1st to December 8th, which will be the option pricing difference would be, it'll be around 312 minus 252, which will be around a $60 gain by rolling it out by an additional week. So you can see theta decay or time decay at work. So now let's move on to a different day, right? And see what happens when the option is in the money, because I want to show you that you will also get credit when the option is in the money. So we'll just go to when Apple is at its highest point, and we'll look at this option chain again just to show you that even as the value of Apple overall increases, right? Keep in mind the option pricing right now. What you care about is the difference between the legs that you're selling. And you'll see that even the difference will be enough for you to gain a credit. So we'll take a look at that. On December 13th, where Apple's actually worth around $196. The Apple, it actually peaked around December 14th at 198. So we're really, really close. So we'll just take this as our max point and just compare the option that I had to the option that I will roll out to and see the difference in price. So at this point in time, I had the January 5th, 2024 option at, again, 185. Right? Before it was around 180, Apple was at 183. Now we're at 196. So we're now in the money, and this option is actually going to be worth a lot of money because there is something what we would call, it has intrinsic value, right? If the options were to get assigned at this point, the owner of that call option, the person who bought this option from me, would make around $10 a share per 100 shares, which means that he would make $1,000 from the difference of the stock. What is important, like I said earlier, is the difference between the option that you're about to close and the option that you're going to roll out to. So shortly after December 13th or December 14th, around 3 days later, I decided to roll it out to a January 19th expiry, 2 extra weeks at 185, the same strike price. And you can see that this one is going to be worth $1,290 as opposed to the $1,200 option that we talked about earlier, right? Compare this leg and this leg. So even though it's in the money, I'm able to roll this option out and still get close to $90 on this one roll. This is showing you how theta decay, theta is really, really the most important critical factor when rolling an option. Even though it's in the money, the difference between the option that you're closing and the option that you're rolling out to, which will be the longer termed one, will allow you to correct credit. Now, if you wanted to what we call roll up or roll down, by rolling up, you're basically trying to roll to a higher strike price. So you're going from 185, for example, to 190. Then theoretically, you would have to pay the difference between these two, 185 and 190. So in this case, you'll pay around $350 to do that roll. You can also roll down, which is 185 to 180. At this point, you'll collect even more money because you're going from 1205 to 1750. So you'll collect close to $420, $30 to roll down. I only roll up when I can get a credit for it, which is in this case not going to happen because I'm too far in the money. A disclaimer here though, if you are so far in the money, there will come a point where theta won't be able to help you much. So at some point in time, for example, if Apple were to continue up to like 200, 205, 210, or even using this 165 example, you can see that the difference between these two options will become less and less and less. And at some point in time, you won't be able to roll an option for a credit. And at that point, you usually have to close. Another way to do it, this is just, I guess, maybe a little bit more mechanical. You can always extend the theta to be further out. And so let's compare the 185 to the 185 here. You can see how by rolling it out 129 days, you're getting even more time. So you're going to get around $400 for rolling out this 185 offer from January to April. This is essentially how you roll. Again, the major takeaway here, you don't have to panic when options go in the money. Worst case scenario is you get assigned on the option, which trust me, it's happened to me many, many, many times, right? I just made an Instagram post about how I got assigned on my Southwest options. I made a video about it, link in the upper right-hand corner. It happens, right? Hopefully this example made sense. I'm on a mission to really teach you guys how to use your hard-earned cash to generate cash flow as well as grow your accounts so that you guys can retire as early as possible. And so if you guys have any questions, drop a comment down in the comment section below. If you guys like the video, please consider subscribing. It'll really help the channel out. And until next time, stay safe in the market. Peace.